Alrighty, friends and neighbors, old Doc here. Hasn't been a whole lot going on, but some of you may remember the old Sears that we kind of been tinkering with. Matthew and I kind of got into it. We did get the engine freed up, and I'll show you more of that here in a minute. The valve springs, put that little gasket back. The valve springs went here. The push rods come up through these tubes, or those holes down there, and your rockers go across here. Okay, snag number one. Let me push that gasket back because I got to have those. In order to get the valves unhooked, you have to reach through the intake, which is on this side, with a pair of needle nose pliers and get a hold of the valve stem, and then compress the valve spring to get the two little keepers out and the hold down, and then the spring. And then on this side you have to go through the exhaust port and hold the valve stem. The problem was you couldn't get enough grip on the valve stem because there was just, I don't know, a little bit of crust or something that held the two little keepers. So when you push down on the valve stem, the valve and everything would go down. So what we ended up doing is taking a screwdriver, putting a screwdriver on the top of that round washer that's on top of the valve spring, and giving it a couple old taps with a small hammer to kind of break that crust loose or whatever. And then you could hold the valve with a pair of needle nose pliers, compress the spring, take the two little keepers out, pull the spring off, let the valve drop. Fine and dandy. This side, take the little screwdriver, put it down on top, give it one tap with the little hammer. One of the little keepers jumps out, comes clear up here, goes over here, and right down that tube where the push rod comes up through. Yeah, that's our luck. So we get the valve springs pulled out, pull this up off of there. Let me lay this to the side. Look down in there if you can. Let me try to get you some type of light, maybe. There. That little son of a gun is nowhere in sight. I can't believe all the dirt and crap and crud down in there. I'm going to stick the shop vac in there. We did take, I'll show you with the camera instead of the light. Take that magnet. It's not a very strong magnet. Stuck it down in the hole. Tried to get it to come. Well, I got a stronger magnet in the shed and took one of the other keepers and just to see how much magnetism there are to those little keepers, and they're just barely magnetic. So what I think I'm going to do is take the Camla 3000 and try to draw it, suck it up out of there along with all that crap. And I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, we went and grabbed the Camla 3000. Now, what we found out, this thing, it was stuck. It was stuck at top dead center. And I'm hoping that will be our saving grace. There's no ridge there whatsoever, other than this rust line clear at the top, because that's where it was stuck. And it does turn. The starter is hung in there. That's the only friction. We had some Marvel dumped in there. It's a standard piston. Like I said, I don't think this engine has a whole lot of hours on it. I think it was just really abused, as in no oil changing, and it started leaking oil, probably the head gasket there. Who knows? It may have been the valve assembly there may have been leaking. Filled up the air veins, got hot and locked up, whatever. So the push rods look like they're brand new. You know, and why would somebody put brand new push rods in a engine that's locked up? Anyway, I'm going to get the old super sucker going here, so it's going to get loud, and I'm going to clean some of this up, and hopefully we can draw that valve keeper out of there. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it sounded like either a small rock, something hard went up through the I keep getting the light in the way, I'm sorry. That got a lot of crap up out of there. But yeah, it sounded like something went up through the hose. Hopefully it was that keeper. I'm gonna crack this open. And that hard piece of crusty must have been what I heard, because I'm not, unless it's stuck in the hose. I think that crusty thing, piece of carbon, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm waving you guys all over the place here, trying to shake this hose out. Make sure there's nothing stuck in it. I don't think there is. And I'm not seeing that keeper. I think what I heard was this piece of junk go through there. So what we did accomplish was getting some of the crap out of there. And I want to pull this side cover off anyway. Get a look at the internals. The seal doesn't look like it's been leaking. It's not saying that it won't start leaking. Like I said, that grinding noise, that's the starters hung up in there. These two bolts down here at the bottom, those are the crankshaft balance bolts. There's like two wheels in there. You have to turn them, balance the crankshaft. But take this, let me back up here, take this side off. I did get this pulley off, miracle of all miracles. There's two set screws in there. One was on the key and then one was over here on the shaft. That took some soaking with our penetrating oil, and an Allen wrench. This was the Allen wrench I believe was supposed to fit them, but they were a little wallered out from rust and crap in there. So I got a metric. I believe Matthew could read it. I couldn't. I think it was a 4mm or a 4.5mm, and put some heat on it with the MAP gas, and got them out. The second one that was over here, that was really iffy whether it was going to come out or not, but it did come out. I'm not putting them back in because, like I said, the heads are wallered out, and the odds are I'll never get them out again. I'll get some new ones put in there if we go through with rebuilding this. Yeah, pull these bolts out, take this side cover off so I can see the internals, and I'd like to get the piston out of there, see what the rings look like, make sure they're not stuck. And that's, you know, all free. I did call a friend who's worked at a small engine repair and sell place, what have you, and talked to Drew this morning, and Drew said, you know, they have a gasket kit for this. I forget what he said it was. It wasn't very much. And the two seals, they had two of them only. He said these Tecumseh parts are really getting hard to find. So I think as far as that, the head gasket is what I really am concerned about, and maybe the crank seals in finding. But I'd like to pull that piston out, check the rings, make sure they're not stuck, check the end gap and what have you. And I do have a hone because I had the 12-horse Tecumseh that was on my old Sears, and I rebuilt it several times. Even though it's a cast iron sleeve or whatever, they still wear. So yeah, I can hone it. It's a standard piston. It's got, you can, on this side here, I don't know if I can get it to show up on the camera or not. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. STD stamped in it. Standard piston, hopefully standard rings yet, and but we'll find out. Like I said, it was stuck clear up here at top dead center. That's where it's stuck at, right there at that ridge. Like I said, I can hone that out, no problem. So, that's where we're at. We failed on getting our keeper out. I'm not going to hold you guys up any longer. I'm going to let you go with this. Happy trails.